Hey everybody. I don't know how that clap's gonna come out on mic, oh boy. Welcome to my next top 10 for English edition Why Shorts. Bang Dream Girls Band Party Multi-Live just came out 2 days ago on Friday the 31st. Recording this on June 2nd. So we haven't had a ton of time to test. A lot of the stuff you're gonna see in this is obviously, the set's been out in JP for a while, so we know what the cards do. We know which ones are important. This set's kind of unique in that it's one of the few where we have the next set already confirmed for English release, and we know all the cards in it. So some of these choices might be a little influenced by what we know the deck is going to look like in the future, since this is a rather unimpactful set. For those of you that don't know, this set consists of 96 trial deck cards from 5 trial decks, combined with a 30 card sort of like extra booster to make a 126 card set. So a lot of the cards are trial deck quality and not very good. It was actually not super easy coming up with an actual 10 good cards in this set. Without further ado, let's move into the list. So yeah, top 10 cards. It's actually 12, but you know, nobody cares. So we have 2 honorable mentions this time around. I'm going to cover them first. Both of these are probably top 10 cards in the set. I'm not including them because they're reprints. They're from the Rosalia Trial Deck Plus that we already got back last August. So yeah, the first one is Firm Resolution Sayo Hikawa. Obviously, this card's already been seeing a ton of play. Like, I don't really need to talk a whole lot about it. It's a 500 power level 0 bomb, so it removes, like, everything, and it bottom decks, so it doesn't give reverse effects. It doesn't give enter waiting room effects. So yeah, it's effect denial on a bomb, and it can pay 1 to rest itself if you don't have any rested characters. So it's like a plussing 0 combined with denial. Yeah, this got printed at double rare. Used to be a 2 of in a trial deck. Fun stuff. Yeah, card's good, obviously. The other one, no surprise, is Crystal Song Yuki no Minato. Also a trial deck card from the Rosalia Trial Deck Plus. It's just the climax combo on attack. If you have another blue character, look it up to 4 cards, choose a music, reveal it, put it in hand, put the rest in waiting room. Combos with a draw trigger that also got reprinted in this set as a climax rare. Yeah, like this is one of the big combos that the decks play in the meta right now. So not a whole lot. Like, if you know anything about the set, you already know this card. If you don't know anything about the set, you probably already know about this card. It's just a really generic, like, uninteractive combo. Moving into our actual top 10 of new cards. First up, number 10, we have Legend of the Seven Mysteries, Mocha Aoba. So this one's on here. This seems a little, like, niche, I guess, in that the second effect does require alarm cards. It's on attack, pay 1, discard a character with alarm to gain clock kick, basically. That's not really what it's in here for. It's in here for the first effect, which is on play, you can choose a music character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. It's something that Bang Dream actually doesn't have yet. With the, like, selective cantripping on play. Like, they have plenty of, like, draw 2, ditch 1, check top 3, check top X. But they actually don't have any search or salvage on play effects up until this point. So this sort of enables more of a, like, toolboxy level 3 game. Where you can play, like, Musashi Kokoros, you can play, like, the set 1 Kasumi that pays 4 to deal X, you can play, like, one of the set 1 Arisa assist, and a bunch of stuff like that, and sort of toolbox them a little easier. And there are some decent generic cards that have alarm, that you can play in these decks that still give you options to clock kick if you want. The Himari Anti-Change Bomb from Girls Band Party. There's a runner that we'll talk about in this set that has alarm. There's some backups with alarm, etc. So you can still actually make use of the second effect outside of an Afterglow deck, where you're in more of a just sort of generic deck. And since the first effect salvages music, it actually gives you pretty good just sort of splashability into decks. It's not a card that sees a whole ton of play, but it is one that has potential, and I thought was worth mentioning as number 10, since it's the only selective cantrip that Bang Dream has right now. Moving up to number 8, we have Blue Roses in Harmony, Sayo Hikawa. I'm sorry, number 9. Can't count. This is a level 1, cost 0 bottom deck bomb for Roselia. And it has on attack, choose one of your characters, and that character gets plus 1000 power until end of turn. So this is bottom deck bomb, obviously, can kill things. Unfortunately, it's cost 0, not level 1. So you can't beat out 1/1s. But this does sort of, it discourages Aaron from attacking into you. It can beat out other reverse combos, or at least force them to sort of reconsider where they're attacking. The on attack power pump is useful if you're playing, say, like the what do we have? The Lisa combo from Girls Band Party, or the Sugami combo from Girls. Well, Sugami you want all green characters on board, but the Lisa combo, that's a Roselia combo that can potentially see play for its selectivity. This can power pump it, help you out there. It can power pump Yukin on level 3, which can be relevant sometimes. If you just like, sort of feel like 2 Yukinas in this or something, and want to get that power pump. So it's just sort of like a little bit of a utility combined with bomb. So it can remove things. It is notably, this does kill Puck. Since Puck's cost 0, he only gains a level. You can still bottom deck Pucks, stuff like that. So it has some neat uses. I don't know that this sees much play outside of like a Roselia dedicated deck, but that is pretty much one of the best decks that BanG has to offer right now. So number 8, we have the Magic of Smiles, Misaki Okusawa. So this is a brainstorm. Pay 1, rest 2, flip over 4 for each climax. Choose a character in your waiting room, return it to hand. Unfortunately, it does have to rest 2, so that's a little worse than the Remy brainstorm from Girls Band Party that we already have. However, the main thing here is the climax combo, which does sort of force it into the Hello Happy World, or maybe not Hello Happy World oriented deck, but this climax does combo with multiple different characters, so it sort of forces you into that shell. Is when climax is placed, you choose a character, give it 1000 power, and the twin drive effect, where you get to pay 1 to trigger check 2 times. So this is unfortunately on a return, so it's not a plussing trigger, so you can't do the whole like Gun Gale thing where they go twin drive with 8 plussing triggers and try to get card advantage that way. But you can play this with standby to pretty good effect. Gives you more chances to hit standby. A lot of the other effects that combo with the Magic of Smiles have require trigger checking soul triggers, so this gives you more chances to trigger check those. So it's good synergy with all that, and it's a brainstorm at the same time. So it sort of helps your other combos while being a brainstorm. It's also a yellow brainstorm, which they didn't actually have up until now. They had to use the Amagi pay 1 on climax play effect. So that's a little notable. But yeah, I got this card on there. Honestly, mainly because the other 2 parts of this shell are both very good cards, and this enables them. So this is kind of a necessary card for that deck. But you could, like, even if you're, this shell can go in any deck, right? You don't have to play the Hello Happy World deck for this shell. I just think it benefits there the most. So yeah, moving on to number 7. We have Rock and Glow Ranmitake. So this is an early play if you have Rock and Glow Tsugumi Hazawa in your clock, which, shoot, I actually forgot to put on this slide. Rock and Glow Tsugumi Hazawa is a level 0, and it has Alarm, which we can actually go pull that up, and I can just read that to you guys real quick. Because I'm a dummy and forgot to put it on this slide. So we have Rock and Glow Tsugumi Hazawa. It's a 0/0/1500 music Afterglow. Alarm, if it's a top card of your clock. All of your Afterglow characters get the following ability. Auto, when this card attacks, you may pay 1 stock. If you do, look at the top card of your opponent's deck and put it on the top or at the bottom of his or her deck. So it helps you confirm damage. It's a little expensive, but it gives it to all of your characters. So you sort of get like a miniature Mocha level 3 effect on all your dudes. And then on play, pay 1, discard 1, choose a card in your clock, return it to hand, put the top card of your deck into your clock. So it's like a drop searcher, but for clock. That's the early play condition for this. So note that these are pretty much always going to be coming together. And then The Ren itself is, if it's on your center stage, all your music characters get plus 1500. And then climax combo, this is actually the same climax combo as the record, Cardcaptor Sakura record. When the climax is placed, if this is on your center stage, you can pay 2, search 2, put them in your hand, and then choose a copy of herself and put it on any position of your stage. So it sort of multi-early plays itself. It doesn't save resources, but it does make them really big, and it can come out at level 2. And it can search for counters to keep them alive and stuff like that. Unfortunately, this one's kind of inherently worse than the Cardcaptor one because it doesn't have the clock kick effect, and it has to search afterglow characters. So you can't search anti-change counters. You have to either search like the Tomoe counter or the 1-0 Himari counter. And otherwise, you're probably just searching your top end, honestly. You're either searching like the Mocha kick or the Mocha combo or something like that. So that's a little unfortunate, but like I said, the Mocha level 3 clock kick can splash into more good stuff stacks, and it's a search target for this. So you could play like the Ren early plays, go get the Mocha, play the Mocha, salvage whatever music trait finisher you want, and sort of go from there. And these give you sort of a good stable mid game. You can search anti-change bombs if you think that's going to be relevant. You can search the runners. You can search, honestly, more copies of the Sugami to clock next turn and give yourself the guaranteed like check top finishing power, right? So it has some decent cards that can still search, and it makes a pretty big wall. If you have 2 of these on board, they're 12/5s before whatever assists you have. Number 6, we have If I Could Be Myself, Chisato Shirasagi. So this is Pastel Palettes. Has the same center stage, all your music characters get plus 1500. And its only other effect is pay 1, discard 1. When the battle opponent becomes reversed, deal 1 damage. So it's a pretty simple card. This was actually from the Pastel Palettes trial deck. But it is very splashable. Like, super splashable, right? Because it has no trait requirements anywhere other than music. It can power pump. You can play this with Mochas to power pump your Mochas. You can play this with Yukinas to power pump your Yukinas. The deal 1 is fairly cost efficient. It's just pay 1, ditch 1. So it's not eating into stock or hand too much. It does require a reverse, unfortunately. So like, probably not great synergy with Yukina. But it's also active on defense. So if they crash into you, you could still use it. You can put this in with really whatever. And it power pumps you and provides another finisher. So really just good splashable card. That's why it makes the list. Next, we have Echoing Heartbeat, Ranmitake. So this is the level 1 combo from the trial deck, bumped up to double rare. On attack, it gets plus X until end of turn. X is equal to the number of other music characters you have times 500. So it's usually going to be 2,000. So she attacks for 65. Both versions of the climax, both the treasure and the pool, are 1k1. So that makes her 75. And then on attack, if the climax is in play, she gains 1,000. So it makes her 85. Which is pretty big. And then on reverse, you can put the top card of your deck into your stock. It's not an amazing combo, but if you notice, the climax is That Is How I Roll, which is the same as the Mocha level 3 from BoatsDon'sNsink, which is already one of the best finishers that the set has to offer. So if you're playing the Mocha level 3, you can actually just slot like 2 copies of this into your deck, and it gives you a little more value. Say if you go like level 1 combo turn, grab a copy or 2 of this, like if you trigger check your treasure and it gets stuck in your hand, you don't have to like discard out it or whatever. You can actually just play the Rans, play the climax, get another turn of damage push, generate resources off of it, and sort of keep moving from there. So it gives you this nice like transitional play on a climax that you're already playing. So it's actually a really cool card for that. And even if you play this on your like other combo, your actual level 1 combo turn, attacking for 65, 75 with a climax in play isn't terrible. That does force combos, or not combos, it forces counters out of like jokers. It forces counters out of, say, pucks. It forces, well, puck depending on what assists it has on board. But it does force counters out of a lot of things. Since most walls tend to sit at like 7k, it forces counters out of Prince Eugen. And I guess notable if people are playing P5. Green is on the opposite Joker as blue, so if you're playing like Yukina level 1 with this, you can pick which Jokers to kill, which is kind of cool. Not super relevant though. But yeah, so this is a cool card that just really doesn't take up any. It doesn't hurt your decks. You're playing the Climax anyway if you're playing Mocha. Number 4, we have the Magic of Smiles Kokoro Tsurumaki. So this is another level 1 combo. This one being from the special pack. During your turn, this card gets 1,000, so it's a 55 on your turn, 45 on the opponent's. It has a Climax combo. This is one of the ones I was talking about that works with the Brainstorm really well. So it's the same Climax, the Magic of Smiles. When the Climax is placed, if you have another music character, this gains 1,500 power and the following ability. When this card's trigger check reveals a card with Soul in its trigger icon, search your deck for up to one music character, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. So this is non-reverse effect searching, which is really strong. You'd have to trigger check Soul, so you have to play a lot of Soul triggers, like roughly 30, honestly. But you have the Brainstorm to give it Twin Drive, right? And it's not once per turn. So if you go like play Climax, Brainstorm, give effect to Kokoro, attack, pay 1 for drive check twice, first drive check Soul trigger, second drive check Soul trigger, then you get to go get 2 searches, which is really powerful. And she's 55, 65 with Climax, 8 with her Climax combo, and then the Brainstorm pumps 1,000, so 9. So she does attack very large. She's killing a lot of things, forcing counters out of even the big wall. So yeah, this is really good. Searching without needing to reverse is also really good. And again, this Climax actually has another combo, which we'll get to later. So yeah. Next we have number 3, Last Favor Ever, I Promise, Himari Uehara. So this is the runner for Afterglow. It's just a conditionless free runner at 1,500 power, which is pretty good. It's 500 smaller than the Remy, but it has an alarm effect, and it's a green, which is relevant sometimes. The alarm is if this is the top card of your clock at the beginning of Climax phase, choose one of your characters, and that character gets the following ability until end of turn. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may put the top card of your opponent's clock into your opponent's waiting room. If you do, put that character into his or her clock. So this has some pretty cool uses. Note that it just says choose one of your characters, so it's not Afterglow limited. So you could say your opponent's playing Love Live Sunshine, they Chica Yo early play. You play Remy the Remy anti-change bomb from Girls Band Party. Use this alarm to give it the effect. You swing into their Yo, bomb it, it gets reversed, and then you kick it to their clock, so they can't summon it again off of their Chica next turn. It lets you remove various things like that. If your opponent has like early plays with encore supports, or that just have encore, you can remove them. You can use this with like, I guess level 3 combos really. It'd be kind of strange, but you can remove things that might have encore and try to come back. Yami, you can kick the clock. What else? Can't think of a whole lot else, but I mean, I guess like level 1s that have encore even, you can, if you manage to reverse them, you can send them to clock and prevent them from coming back. So it has interesting uses, and it's a runner. That's like, it's a runner with utilities. That's why it makes top 3. Runners are good. The set already has 2, but this one's in a different color. Both of the other ones are red. So being green could be relevant. It helps you color fix for Mocha. There have been a lot of decks that just play like 4 Himari anti-change bomb, 4 Mocha, 4 Climax as their green. And this gives you a little more green if you want it. So yeah, it's a really good card. It's a runner. Those have historically been good. Moving into number 2, we have Sparkling Starry Sky Kasumi Toyama. This is the level 1 bomb from the poppin'party Trial Deck Plus. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a music character, choose one of your characters, and that character gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. And then it's a level 1 bomb. So being a level 1 bomb is kind of cool for the same reasons as other bombs are good. This actually becomes significantly more relevant when we get the next set this fall, because of a mechanic that requires your opponent's entire board to be reversed or empty. And bombs obviously help you reverse their board, and power pumps help you reverse their board. But even for now, you can power pump reverse combos, you can power pump level 3s. If you're playing that irritating girl event, you can get a top check off of this, so you know if you're going to hit your top check for the event, which is relevant. I mean, heck, you can top check for like the pay for deal X, just any number of things. And then you have the level 1 bomb effect, obviously. This can power pump Yukinas, etc. It just has a lot of utility in knowing the top card of your deck without revealing it, like the top check add to hand discards do. And being a level 1 bomb is, like I said, not incredibly relevant right now, but it reverses walls. This hits Contai really hard. It hits not ReZero. It does hit Persona. It hits a lot of the wall decks that are just trying to counter up. So yeah, this is a really good card, and this one's going to have a lot of utility going forward, so that does sort of influence its placement here a little bit. Lastly, we have the Magic of Smiles Hagumi Kitazawa. So this is the level 3 that combos with the Magic of Smiles. And I'm sure most people expected either the Runner or the Kasumi Bomb to be at the number 1 slot and not Hagumi. But I'm going to explain why I think Hagumi is the number 1 card in this set to be looking at. So the on-play effect is on-play, draw 1, discard 1, and then return one of your opponent's characters to their hand. This is a pretty huge effect, honestly. You can return like Asuna assists to hand, you can return on reverse burns to hand, you can return minus soul level 3s to hand, you can return like you can return anything. So this is obviously makes your attacks direct, but it's optional. So you can say bounce a thing, play a 1 soul character, get a direct for 2 or for 3 with the climax. You can bouncing denies counter step, so Sword Art can't opposition by the shield you. Toloveru can't project darkness you or darkness project you, but you have to bounce something that's not Yami because she can't be chosen. ReZero can't rest counter you. There's probably other Contact can't compass you. So that's pretty big. So bouncing just has a ton of utility. And as I mentioned with the Kasumi, moving forward, we will be getting effects that require your opponent's entire stage to be, or entire center stage to be reversed or empty. So bouncing one obviously helps with that. So that's going to have a lot of utility moving forward. It has a little bit of utility now. The draw 1, discard 1 helps you get into climaxes, helps you get into more finishers. It's not something I would consider actual like good dig, like a check top 3 or check top X or whatever. But it's tied onto the bounce effect that's already pretty good. We have Fate Stay Night confirmed, which has the Rider level 3 that prevents frontal attacks. So this is another one that sort of it'll be relevant in the future. And with how lackluster most of this set is, I think that's a pretty fair metric to look at. Like, what cards should I buy from this? Oh, well, this one might be relevant in 6 months. However, the climax combo on this is also very powerful. So when the Magic of Smiles is placed on your climax area, this gets 1500 power and the following ability. This ability activates up to 1 time per turn. When this card's trigger check reveals a card with soul in its trigger icon, you may deal 3 damage to your opponent. So we're already playing a lot of soul triggers for the Kokoro level 1. We are playing the Twin Drive Brainstorm, so we can let this trigger check twice for even better chance. This has no cost. This is a costless deal 3. That's good. That means we get to keep a lot of our compression, or we just don't have high resource requirement going into this. 6 stock lets you triple Hagumi. So yeah, like, this is just really good. 3 is a good number. It's not 4, so more likely to stick than Xenon. 2 might have been better, but 3 is a really good number. This ends up meaning that you're swinging for like 3 soul bodies with burn 3s. It's a really strong finisher. I honestly think this comes in right behind like the Mocha and Yukina level 3s that we already have as the next best potential finisher. And being in yellow means that you have access to the Kaoru discard 1 check top 4 for a yellow character from Girls Band Party. It means that you have access to the Hagumi level 0 from Girls Band Party that searches your deck for a yellow climax. And that also applies to the Kokoro level 1, right? You can use the Kaoru and the Hagumi to dig through your deck for Kokoro pieces and to get the climax, which no other combos in Bang Dream right now have searchable climaxes. There's no real level 1 advantage combos on treasures for climax consistency. None of the other combos have like a Riki or Azusa effect that gets to them. They only have like drop searchers. Poppin'party ones have the set 1 Kasumi, pay 1, clock 1 salvage, but they have to already be in your waiting room. And this deck being a lot of yellow and Hello Happy World means that you get the Kokoro drop searcher on trait and color anyway. So it leads to just a lot of really strong synergies that other decks don't have access to in Bang Dream, which is sort of, you're playing a slightly worse finisher, but it gives you incentive in terms of like consistency, which might seem kind of ironic given that all of your effects are based on trigger checking soul triggers, but you get a lot of utility consistency effects that the other decks don't have as easy access to. So yeah, that's why I think this is number 1. I think it's a very powerful card and combo to build around. I think it's a card that even outside of the climax combo will have utility moving forward and may even have utility now. If you're in a meta where your opponents are playing lots of like minus soul level 3s, like the Siege combo, or if your opponent has like Reflect combo from Card Captor, you can return those to hand, and that helps a lot. Even if they're, say, playing a lot of Card Captor, but Record, or any of the other characters that I've covered in this that are like center stage, all your characters get plus 15. You can return those to hand, so they lose a 15 across their board. And that helps you with a lot of stuff. Like bouncing an Asuna, attacking waves Asuna assist means that your Yukina probably kills something. So that's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good utility coming out of this card. So here's a review of the top 10. We've got 1, 2, and 3, the Hagumi, Kasumi, and Himari up there. Highlights are slightly harder to see on a white background, I guess, than the black background, but they're there. You guys saw all these already. All right, so moving forward, we have sample deck lists. Unlike Gungale, in this one, I'm not going to be talking about sort of the quote-unquote meta lists because I don't think those actually change with this set. Outside of maybe a deck cuts some of its other runners for the Himari runners, or maybe a deck cuts the Rimi level 1 bomb for the Kasumi level 1 bomb, or you add in like 1 Hagumi to bounce stuff. Like, I don't think the decks change very much, maybe like 2 or 3 cards, so I'm not going to talk about them. Instead, I'm going to talk about these sort of new decks that come out of this that are more band focused and have unique draws to the meta, even if they're not as powerful. So first up, we have the Poppin'party deck. This is a standby deck that uses the new combos. So the Rimi Ushigome level 3 is new. It's an uncommon in the set. It's if you have 2 or more other music characters, this gets plus 2,000 power, so it becomes an 11. Climax combo is on attack if the standby is in play. Choose one of your other characters and this card, and they both get 25 until the end of the opponent's turn. And then during your turn, when it reverses battle opponent, pay 1, deal 1. And then the tie that combos with the same standby is when the standby is placed, if this is in center stage, pay 1, choose one of your Poppin'party characters specifically, so you can't use this with other bands, and stand it. So the goal is if you play it at level 1, you're going to be bringing out the level 2 Saya up there. It's just a clone of the Rhapsodic Lisbeth from Sword Art Ordinal Scale. So it's like a 10-5 with the pay 1 rested if you don't have rested characters. But it's a big 2-soul. It's now the best big 2-soul beater that Bang Dream really has. And it's Poppin'party, so we can stand it. So if you're level 1, you'll be bringing that out, standing it, and attacking with it. If you're level 2, you'll be bringing the Rimi out, standing it, and attacking with it, getting like cross-turn power. You can deal some extra damage and stuff like that. So the Rimi works really well, especially if you have other standby targets already on board. You can make things really defensive and big. We have the Arisa Ichigaya assist because if you standby it out, Global 15 is powerful. If you draw it and play it late game, the effect to shuffle your opponent's waiting room back in is also very powerful. The other level 3 combo we're running is the Kasumi from Girls Band Party that combos with Starbeat to deal X damage, where X is the number of something in the warehouse in your waiting room. So we are playing the something in the warehouse for consistency. It mills cards, so it puts our standby targets in the waiting room with more consistency, so that we can sort of dig into them earlier. Brainstorms are obviously playing Remy Brainstorms. They're poppin'party and good. We play 2 Remy Anti-Change Bomb because we play 6 events, and it's an answer to early plays. We play a free fresh counter. We play the Buns for Lock because the Buns plus Arisa decompression combo can just kill people sometimes. As far as level 0s go, Brainstorms, Drop Salvagers, Runners. The Sparkling Kasumi Top Check filter gives us a discard out for standby targets. It can hit on something in the warehouse, so we can get that to hand. Twinkle Star Kasumi is a plussing 0. It can salvage almost everything in our deck, unlike most like Krista effects where they can only salvage level 1 or lower. We do play the Sayo Hikawa Bomb. It's not poppin'party, but it's the best blue plussing 0, and the deck needed a little more blue fix because Tai is blue. And the Aris is blue. So we are playing that just for a little blue fix, just to be safe. You're never really carrying to stand that off of Tai anyway, so not a big deal that it's not poppin'party. And then we play the one Lunch Break Tai, which is a 500 assist, and has the when your character goes to waiting room from stage, you can sack the Tai to bring it back and encore it effectively. You see decks like Love Live Sunshine play this with Capture Stance Kanon to save their like Yo early plays if they get reversed or whatever. And we're basically using this for the same thing. If we standby out like the level 3 Remy and our opponent does get big enough to kill it, we can just save it with Tai. And since we play standbys, we can like do everything normally, and then maybe we trigger a standby, and we can put Tai on the board with the standby. So there's a little bit of cool utility there. Something in the warehouse can always grab it, even if you don't mill music characters, because it's a level 0. So we have good consistency there. Overall, yeah, this is just a pretty typical standard deck, standby deck, trying to win board. We don't play counters, because our level 1s aren't big. It's mostly just the level 2s, and the level 2s get big enough that level 1s probably can't kill them. And even the level 3s get big enough that most early plays are probably struggling to kill them, outside of like anti-change bombs and stuff like that. So yeah, not really playing counters in this one, unfortunately. You could make room for them if you wanted. And then you could use like something in the warehouse to recur your counters. Moving into the next deck, we have Afterglow. So this is using a lot of the new stuff. It's less alarm focused and more like stock generation focused. We do still have some alarm characters. Obviously, we're playing the new Rock and Glow Ran, and you can see the Rock and Glow Sugami in our level 0 lineup. That's the early play condition that I was talking about earlier. The other Rock and Glow card we play is the Himari, which is a level 1 combo with the same climax as Ran. It's just on attack, you can choose a character with alarm in your waiting room and put it into your stock. So we do play a total of, 8, 12, 16, like 21 cards with alarm. So we do have plenty of things to actually stock with that. We're just not really focusing a lot on the alarm sort of mechanics. We have the Ran level 3 alarm. Usually not using this for the finisher effect, because I don't think you play quite enough alarms to make use of it. But we're really using it for its actual alarm effect, so that lets us search our deck for level or for Afterglow characters. Which, again, the Ricky sort of effects that let you search your deck aren't something that most bands have access to. Afterglow is kind of unique in that it does have a pay 1, clock 1 search, even though it's kind of in a sort of roundabout way. 4 Himari anti-change bombs, because killing early plays is good, getting free stock is good. Like, it just does both. Obviously, this card's already established itself as like a huge player in the game. We play the one Tomoe backup, just in case we need backups to save Ran, and Ran does search 2 on Climax combo, so we can go get the counter if we need it to defend ourselves. And it has alarm, We're playing the new Ran level 1 combo that I talked about that lets you get stock. So no matter which treasure we get at level 1, we have a climax combo for it. We're playing 2 Ran clock bombs, because getting drive check twice is decent, and being a clock bomb can remove some things. We play 1 chibi character, Remitake Box Topper. It's a discard out. It gets us a little bit of mill, and can grab characters and climaxes. So it's just there for the utility. We play 4 of the Tomoe Brainstorms because it's the Afterglow Brainstorm. It's pay 1, rest 2, unfortunately, to search, but it does search for music characters, and it has the alarm effect where if we have an alarm on our clock, we give a character 1500, which we're not always going to have an alarm, but we'll have one probably often enough that giving the 1500 pump lets us get extra kills. We play 3 Mocha, mainly as a discard out that has alarm tied to it. You could play like the level 0 Kasumi promo where you discard a climax to salvage, because we mainly just want these for discard outs, for extra treasures that we trigger and aren't able to just slam and deal damage with. We have the 4 runners because they're runners and they have alarm. And then we have the 4 Sugamis for also a discard out, and it's the early play condition, so we need to have 1 in clock at level 2. Otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward deck. You just build a lot of stock and then play the Mocha level 3 finisher to try to win, and you have a lot of compression to back you up. Next, we have Pastel Palettes. This deck is a mess. This deck is an absolute mess. It's colors everywhere. Unfortunately, not many of these cards got talked about in our top 10, but this is a really cool deck that when it goes off, it goes off. So starting from the top left, we have the Aya level 3. It just heals on play, and on attack gives power until end of opponent's turn. It's Shimakaze Kai, so it's 500 times the number of your other characters to one of your other characters until end of opponent's turn. So it's like a 2k cross turn pump. We have the Eve level 3, the Sparkling Stage. It's the beginning of opponent's draw phase, give a character 4000. And climax combo on reverse, search your deck for up to 2 Pastel Palettes characters. Reveal them, put them in your hand. It combos with the Sparkling Stage Gate down here, the blue climax. We played 2 adorable idle pose, or absolute idle pose, Aya Maruyama. It's the restander sort of thing from Girls' Man Party. On play, check top 3, add 1. And on attack, if the comeback's in play, and you have a green character, and you have a yellow character, pay 2, ditch 1, stain a blue character. We're not really playing a lot of blue level 3s to make use of this, but we have enough blue characters to, restand as a sort of our only real finisher, if we get there. We play the 2 Chisatos that I talked about because they give power to our whole board. And power is kind of relevant, and I'll get to why in a second. And it has the pay 1, ditch 1, deal 1, so another sort of light finisher. We play 2 Hinakikawas just in case we need to restand a level 3. It does heal on play. It is like 11k power, and it can come down for 1 stock if we have 4 colors on board. So that's pretty cool. We play 1 copy of the refresh counter because it's a really efficiently costed refresh counter, and we can search it with Eve. And we play comeback, so we can just add it back to hand, or we can brainstorm it or whatever. And we're hopefully always going to have 4 colors on board. Hopefully, that's the goal. This deck is kind of weird. So the 2-1 is the Aya Maruyama combo. So the first effect is this card can be played from your hand without fulfilling color requirement, which thank God for that line of text, because otherwise this deck would be a nightmare. Next effect is you have 4 or more Pastel Palettes characters. This card gets -1 level while in your hand. So it's like the Joker 2-1 condition. So we do want to be having, like, obviously lots of Pastel Palettes characters and then play this. Climax combo. This is why we play a lot of level 3s. This is why having level 3s that give power is important. It's when the climax is placed, if this is on your center stage, you may pay the cost. If you do, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a Pastel Palettes character, put it on any position of your stage, and that card gets plus, 3,000 power until end of turn? Some amount of big power, whatever. more importantly, it doesn't have a level requirement on what it summons. So we can early play this at level 1, play the climax, discard a card, summon a level 3, if it's the top card of our deck. Which lets us get the Eve level 3 in play, which combos with the same climax, gets a reverse, searches 2. It lets us get, like, the Aya that pumps power across turn. It lets us get the Chisato that burns and pumps power across turn. Lots of good things. Next, we have Sparkling Stage Maya Yamato. We're playing this because we needed more green things on board in case we didn't top check a green level 3. It's on play, just gains 500 times the number of music characters you have, so it's like a 7k on a full board. You're never really playing this last, though, because Aya's coming down last, so it's like a 65. The other effect is on play, you can choose the bottom card of your clock and a pastel palettes in your waiting room and exchange them. So in case you get, like, weird color locked, you can level green, and then, like, clock whatever, play your green dudes, play this, swap what you clocked for a blue cards, you can get blue guys into play. Helps you a little bit on the awkward color requirement. Unfortunately, it doesn't swap your level zone, so if you do have to clock to 1-0, you're just kind of out of luck. That would have been a little better, but can't get that lucky. Next, we have the blue 1-0 Chisato. So this is if you have 4 more colors on stage, all of your other characters get 1,000 power, which is a pretty big boost. Girls Band Party had the Maya level 0 assist. That was an assist for 1,000, but this one's a global 1,000. So that's going to be even better. And then Climax combo. When the blue Climax is placed, pay 1, discard 1. Look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose 1 from among them, put it into your hand, so that refunds the discard cost. And then put the rest on top of your deck in any order. So this is how we guarantee that the top card of our deck is something that we want to summon with Aya. Obviously, we can't guarantee it because we only get to check 4, but if there's any level 3 in those top 4, we just slap it on top, summon it with Aya, and go to town. So we play 1 copy of the Aya 2k counter, because if we have 4 colors on stage, we can stock a music character from Waiting Room, so it makes it a 1-0 2000 counter. Which protects our guys a little better. Our only yellow is the Eve Brainstorm. Because it's a Brainstorm, we always want it on board. So there's not really much of a need to play other yellow characters, because this is just always the one we want to have. The Brainstorm effect, if you're not familiar, is from Girls Band Party. It's a search Brainstorm, but it brainstorms for X instead of 4, where X is the number of colors you have plus 1. So if you have 4 colors on board, it brainstorms 5. If you have 3 colors on board, it's a normal Brainstorm. If you have less than that, it's a bad Brainstorm, but, you know, we can deal with it. We play 4 copies of the green level 0 Hina. It's on attack, choose one of your characters, it gets 500 per turn, and when it goes from stage to Waiting Room, you can reveal up to 3, choose a pastel palette, add it to hand, put the rest in Waiting Room, and then discard a card. So it's similar to the Armin level 1 from Attack on Titan that checks for yellow characters. This one's just when it goes from stage to Waiting Room instead of hand to stage. So this lets us get our pieces set up a little more consistently. It acts as a discard out, and yeah, it just helps us like make sure we can get like the Aya to hand, the Chisato to hand, because we do need a lot of different pieces at level 1. And it's a green character again, so ideally our back row here is like the yellow Eve and the blue Chisato. And so we need green and red in our front row. So this gives us something green to play in our front row that's a little efficient, I guess. We play 4 of the Aya runners because they're runners, and they're red, so they're good color, good effect. We're mainly just using these at 0, so the color doesn't matter a ton, but in case we do need a red character at some point, it gives us 1. We play 3 of the Perfect Smile Chisato. This card is just another really plussing 0. It's an oversize. Getting to marker from top can sometimes help. Like, it makes your brainstorm for effectively even more because you can remove characters from the top of your deck. Otherwise, it's just in there because it's like blue color fix and an oversize. Then we have 3 Silver Fairy Eve Wakamiya. So this is the one where on play you can clock a card from your hand to search a pastel palette. So this is just another way that we sort of guarantee our consistency. And it's blue. So blue color fix. We can clock from hand, so we can get our colors a little easier. We're not like randomly clocking off the top of deck. And the climaxes we play obviously are the or the Aya climax and like multi-card climax from the special pack. So yeah, this deck's a mess. It's really fun though, really fun, especially when it goes off. Lastly, this video is probably getting a little long. We have the Hello Happy World deck, and the first thing you're gonna say is, "But this deck's not all Hello Happy World." Hello Happy World was probably intended to play the set or the Girls Band Party combo with the like on cancel salvage, because that climax got reprinted as a shot trigger and it got a level 3 that combos with it. So that gives you just like 2 level 1 combos, 2 level 3 combos, everything's yellow, everything triggers, etc. But that's no fun. We're not playing that. We're playing standbys. Doesn't really matter which standby you play because it doesn't have a combo. But yeah, so this deck has 29 yellow cards for the 0/0 of Kaoru. That's on play, ditch 1, check top 4, add a yellow character. It has 29 soul triggers for our Kokoro 1/0 and Hagumi 3/2 that we've already talked about. We play 4 of the Brainstorm. We play lots of level 3s, mainly for soul triggers, but Kaoru helping us dig can help us get the climax if we don't have the Hagumi 0. Kokoro Musashi effect is just another like 3rd lane finisher. 2 anti-change bombs. We play the Swimsuit Arisa package. It is our only blue because ideally we're standbying it out. Worst case scenario, we can like clock and level one of the 2 1s or 3 2s or something if we draw too many of them. The goal, obviously, is just get your Kokoro level 1 combo out, give it the Twin Drive effect, trigger check standbys, standby out the 2 1. Since you hit a standby, you can standby out the 2 1, and it has a soul trigger, so the Kokoro searches the 3 2. So you have both pieces off of 1 trigger check. And then if your opponent frontal attacks the Arisa, you get to play the 3 2 at level 1 and heal because it came from hand. And you have the damage reflect effect. So it gives your opponent kind of a troublesome time. If they don't frontal attack it, you just resonate and side attack without soul penalty. Or you frontal attack because you're a 7k at level 1 and that might still kill things. Yeah, the rest of the deck is just consistency pieces, honestly. Like, we're playing the Misaki level 1 because it can attack, and the 1/1 that it changes with has a soul trigger. The 1/1 also changes into the 1/0 by going to stock. So if we hit a standby and standby the 1/1, the 1/1 markers from hand or waiting room. Because when you change into it, it comes from waiting room. So if we stand by it from waiting room, we get the mark, which also gives us like the plus power during our turn in front of it. So we can make our dudes really big if we hit a standby on our turn. And then on our next turn, we can send it to stock to change into the 1/0, and that gives us a free stock effectively, which is pretty good. And it has a soul trigger. We play the memory kick assist, or the memory kick backup, because memory kick is sometimes relevant, but it also has a soul trigger. And the only other 1/1 backup in Hello Happy World requires your whole board to be yellow, which isn't going to happen because we're playing the blue characters. We play runners because they're runners, and they're red. And standbys might get stuck in your hand in this deck. Hopefully not. You have the 2 drop salvagers, you have the Jinsu to discard it, the Hagami 0/0, you have the Kaoru 0 to discard it. So hopefully standbys don't get stuck in your hand, but we play 5 red cards in case they do, so we can clock them and like play them from hand maybe. Otherwise, the Saya drop salvager also mills 2 on play, so it can help us get the 2 1s into waiting room to standby them out. This is also just a really fun deck. This and the Pastel Palettes decks are both sort of like high rolly decks that when they go off, they're really fun, and when you brick, they're terrible. But they're cool things that this set allows you to do that we couldn't do before. So they're really cool. Or at least couldn't do this efficiently before, right? So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry this one might have gone a little long just because there were like 4 decks to talk about and 12 cards. But you can check me out on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching this right now. Twitter, BoatsDon'tSink. White Shorts Global Community on Facebook. You should join if you haven't already. The Card Games Discord has a great community that discusses the game a lot. Talks about new releases and cards and decks, JP and English. There's also the competitive Weiss Schwartz Discord, which unfortunately doesn't have a set URL, so maybe just try to Google that and find it. Or if you join Card Games, you can ask about it, and we can get you links from there. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. The next time I'll be doing one of these is when Review Starlight comes out in a couple weeks, so might have some videos between then, but otherwise I will see you guys then. Bye.